Combing through this week of training, I'm going to talk about how I switched up a plyo session after verbalizing my subconscious thoughts. Pretty big clean there. I got a new bench program, and I made some huge pickups for the home gym. Also went on a field trip this week. There's some intense squatting in this video, and I went to the track, had a good time triple jumping. Also, I'm working on a way to make secondary sprint exposures more interesting. So this week picks up on Wednesday because I posted Monday as a separate video. I'm working on some 10-pound standing jumps, squeaked in 9.8, which is a PR. But anyways, going into this Wednesday session, I wasn't super excited about the set of plyos I had planned. There was some skater jumps and stuff, and I did something I don't usually do, which is change the plan on the day of. So you'll see the plyos that I pivoted to after this dunk session. What that change made me think of, though, is how you're always running a subconscious projection of your session, at least if you're serious about training. Maybe you just show up to training without any prior thought. But for me, even if it's just in the back of my head, I'm thinking, how do my legs feel going into the session? How's the weather going to be today? Am I with friends today in a good environment, or is the weather dreary and I'm not really feeling it? Your subconscious might remember how the weight felt last week, and then you're thinking, oh, if I have to make this 10-pound weight jump, it's going to feel heavier. Anyways, I filled up the weighted vest, and these are the plyos I went with. They're supposed to be longer ground contact time, and then I have this depth landing, which is kind of high force. It goes with the theme. So at least everything I came up with had a theme. If you're ever unsure of what to do with your training, just make sure there's enough stuff hitting a theme, and you will get some sort of adaptation to that theme. 275 for the power cleans. Weren't super high RP, which is good because I'm supposed to be staying in my bag on the Olympic lifts. 5x5 with a slow descent and a proper pause on a 15-degree incline is my new bench program, 3 times a week. That's all I'm hitting. I think that's going to be great for development. All right, Mom's birthday. We ate stuff at the beach. Then on Marketplace, free. This Concept 2 rower was free. Cat. Cool plates. This video is moving a little fast. Okay. 375. I went to lift with a friend on this day, and this didn't move bad for week 1 top set of 5. The back downs were low bar with a 3-second descent, 2x6 with 330. The bar is so uneven. That's funny. All right, after that, 2x6 of conventional deads from the deficit. You can't quite see there. So back to subconscious projection. I have a question for you. Have you ever noticed yourself taking actions that you justify weeks or months later? For example, that happens a lot with my to-do list, where there will be a task that in my conscious brain I've written down, I should do this, I want to do this, it'll be good for me if I do this. But the actions don't align with that. I continue not to do the task because there was some underlying reason that my subconscious brain was aware of, but I may not have verbalized. Perhaps that reason is I'm not confident I'll get the reward from the task, or I'm not actually confident in my ability to do the task easily, at least. I think that subconscious game that happens going into every training session is super interesting, and it will directly impact the results of every single training session. It'll impact how ready you feel because you'll placebo yourself into feeling however your subconscious mind is leading you to feel. Okay, so for example, you can write down, I'm not feeling excited for the session today. Why is that? And then go through the reasons with yourself. Is it because you're not excited about the exercises? Is it because you're not excited about your training environment? Is it because you're fatigued and you don't think you'll be able to succeed? That's some polenta, by the way. Polenta's so good. We're on to Saturday. That's a ball deposit with a hand behind the back. Switching things up with different constraints. You know what I'm saying? Weighted vest, for the single leg repeating bound. A little over 12 meters right there with the weighted vest of 15 pounds. My best without the weighted vest on that static 5X bound is 12 and a half. So I'm gonna see if I can beat that with the weighted vest. I beat it. Spoiler alert. Going into this session, the vibes were down a little bit as well because I wasn't able to dunk, but I did address something I've been struggling with, which is my secondary upright sprinting stim. I think tempos and float sprint and all that stuff is great, but to be very clear, I am not excited about going to a wet track to run sub-maximally. Anyways, you'll see what I came up with later. 11 meters on triple jump, I got to get better at this. I don't think this is very good. I don't know too much about triple jump, but I don't think this is very good. That jump was definitely a fault, but I did land about a foot into the pit. So the starting line is down there, and then have 20 meters to this cone, 20 meters to that cone, 40 meters to the furthest cone. And this is what I would designate as a technique zone run. So it's like a tempo, but in each of these zones, I have specific cues I'm going to focus on. So I'm just going to focus on driving through that first 20 meters, and then the next 20 meters, I want to have a gradual but aggressive acceleration, and then in the last 40 meters, I want to cue arm back a little bit more, elbow up. I'm going to set the camera up so I'll take a peek at the last 40. Those technique zones are cool, but the main thing I did to switch up the secondary upright sprinting stim was time 150-meter runs. Not maximally, but I am pushing the effort just a little bit on those, and I find that a lot more engaging. I'm feeling no music for this set, just demons and focus. Grizzly squat sets right there. High key, I think that's more intense than my top set on the primary day, which I might address. But anyways, moving on to the technical ollies here. You'll see something in the background that I'll show fully in a sec. This was another crazy marketplace steal. I got Olympic lifting blocks for $75, which is a very, 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 very good deal. They were listed for free, but the guy said there was someone else coming to pick them up. So I was like, I'll give you $75 and I'll pick them up in 10 minutes. And he said yes to that. So let's go. The benching again for the development. Like I said, I think for hypertrophy, this is the key. It's a lot better than flat benching, especially with fast tempo flat benching. And then some overhead extensions. If you eat too many calories earlier in the day, zucchinis.